Hello, thank you for joining me as I continue Shingeki Season 4 Part 2 on to Episode 3. Now, it wasn't part of the plans, it certainly wasn't, but the break from Part 2 to Part 3 ended up being quite long. Of course, it's not by choice, if I could get to them faster, I would. But again, some of the planning hasn't really played out like I hoped it would. And of course, at the time of recording this, I am thinking of making some changes for March. Just haven't been able to get to them. So yeah, I'm thinking of changing a few things around for March so I can focus a bit more on Shingeki, as it is, one of the flagship shows or series on my channel. Has been for years at this point. I'm thinking of making some changes for March, maybe dropping a couple of series, actually. Not dropping, just putting them on hold, so I can allocate some of that, time to Shingeki as it's airing, right? And then once Shingeki ends, I'll bring those ones back in. So yeah, maybe down the line, look out for an update, maybe a community post, pinned comments. So before I get into the episode, and also I'm not gonna do a recap because I'm actually recording this intro after I've already seen the episode. So yeah, I just kind of had to jump in and do a bit of an intro and, kind of give an update on the situation here. But yeah, if you're interested in full length for this episode, consider checking out the Patreon page. The link is in the description and the pinned comment. There's no early access. There's never been early access for this, so yeah, no, it's airing at the moment. So of course, there was never going to be any early access. I think that would be a bit scummy, and it was never part of my plans to offer early access either. So yeah, just want to make that clear. The delay isn't because it's early access or anything. But yeah, I've seen the episode. It's a phenomenal episode. I had a really fun time discussing it. So I hope you enjoy this. Whoa. Oh my goodness. Galliard, man, he keeps coming. And he knows he's outmatched. Oh. God damn, man, Galliard might not be getting up from that one anytime soon. Whoa. Wow. Yeah, he took a beating, man. Hammer fist. Look at this though, man. Reiner. Whoa. 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 Beautiful shot though. The memory opened up to him. Whoa. Yeah, I was gonna say, the way Eren looked. How about that? Yeah, Reiner. That's rare to see that kind of emotion from Eren these days. Wow. Wow. Whoa. And once again, Titans in Shiganshina. Wow, that's just like the one that ate Thomas. I was gonna mention episode 1 of the series. Oh, is that Falco? Whoa, look at the detail here. Episode 5 as well, right? Oh my god. Oh my god. Is this it? Wow. Kind of speechless, folks. Oh my god. But Zeke's not dead. There's no chance. Oh. No armband. He understands now. So it's Galliard. Oh, and he did that. And he did that too, right, to Eren all that time ago. Of course, he's not gonna be dead that easily. There's no need to spell it out, but yeah. Whoa. Oh my god, this episode, man. Once again, Reiner lives on, and the Jaw Titan protected him. Oh my god, it's about to happen. She has a rightful. Whoa. Ooh. What? I mean, Eren cannot die, of course, but what? In this plan of ours? No. Come on. That aspect, though? Interesting. To bring this scene up again. Right, and then it cuts off. Whoa. Oh. Look at that. Just that in itself. What is going on right now? Whoa, this music. It's like a moment frozen in time. Whoa. Whoa. Faye? Frida? Whoa! Whoa! What? That's Armin, wasn't it? And maybe Mikasa? It's happening. They've made it. The chains, though. He didn't have chains in episode 1, as his body was being rebuilt. Whoa. The chains are throwing me off here. Wow, there it is. Wow. Wow. That is a cursed existence.
ずっとこ
Hmm.
こに一人で
How about that?
エレン始祖ユミルに命じ
How
る
about that?
これは俺の自由を妨げるもの
No, but
つまり
he doesn't have the founding titan. Eren has
や
it.
はり全てのエルディア人を安楽死させるエレンこんなふざけた計画俺は到底受け入れられない
Of course. Oh my god, is this like a test? Oh, wow. That really hit him, didn't it?
なぜだエレン答えてくれ
Freedom.
俺がこの世に生まれた
Because I was born in this world. I didn't believe for a second that he was on board
俺に力を貸してくれ
since episode 15. It was so out of character for him, right? Whoa! Zeke's royal blood, right? That's the connection here?
お前だけは分かってくれ
I
る
thought
と
as much.
信じた
Wow, music.
これもあの父親に洗脳されたせいなのか
Season 3, part 1. It's a great track. Wow.
どういうことだ
His royal blood certainly makes it special, doesn't it?
覚ますまでの長い時間で
This is the reason I was talking about. I want to see what happens for Zeke.
何でも作れる
Ah,
こんな
Wow.
土くれの鎖でも
It was a
王家の
test.
血を引く俺が求めればな
royal blood. There it is.
俺は歴代の壁の王と違い初代王の思想に染まらぬままここに
Because he doesn't have the founding titan. That was a major red flag earlier.
絶大な力を持つ始祖ユミルだがその正体は
Whoa.
自分の意志を持たぬ奴隷だ
Oh my god.
王家の血を引く者を自分の主人だと思い込み
Subservient for an eternity. Wow.
始祖の力は俺が手にしたお前は悪くない
Right, they showed a speck of doubt even in that
俺たちは
flashback, right?
最悪の父親に生み出されてしまっ
He
た
still believes that.
あれが被害者だしかし俺には助けてくれる別の父親がいたお前にも誰か助けてく
He
れる
wants to be that figure for Eren, huh? He's not gonna abandon him.
決してお前を見捨てはしない俺が始祖の力でお前を治してやる世界を救う時
Kind of looked like Frida
お
there.
前と一緒だ
Whoa. Ah, god damn it. Wow. Wow. Okay. That is some ending. That is some ending, eh? To one of the standout episodes of Shingeki, a monumental episode, as these two really important figures in the story and to the endgame trajectory of this story have reached the elusive, the fantastical, the eerie path realm together, right? And they are in the presence of the founder herself. It's kind of insane that it's finally reached this moment, right? Set up all that time ago in season 3, part 2. Yeah, it's finally going there. It's finally going there, man. And it's damn exciting. It's really, really quite exciting. Oh, also, this is the spoiler I saw. The key visual showing Eren in the path realm standing opposite to the founder Ymir, right? In front of the coordinate. So yeah, this is the spoiler. The key visual, again, it was official, so yeah. But yeah, I'm happy that it happened really early on. 3 episodes in and it's happened, it's out, right? So I don't have to tippy-toe around that aspect of it anymore. And speaking of the coordinate, wow. Now, of course, I have seen this before. A quick glimpse in the endings of season 4, part 2 episodes. Sorry, part 1 episodes, right? And of course, they showed the founder Ymir in that as well. So it's been set up for some time now. So yeah, I saw it there too. Of course, it resembles the Tree of Life, Yggdrasil as well, right? And that's not surprising since this show already has, or this story already has Norse mythology symbolism, right? Or it's been present throughout the story. Now that's quite the cliffhanger for quite the episode. Zeke going dome to dome with Eren, and that really familiar electrical surge takes place as they make contact. Now, the electrical surge has long been established as memories being unlocked, right? You go back to Rod Rice and Historia touching Eren in that sacrificial cave under the church. I mean, you see it happen in this episode as Reiner touches Galliard. You go back to Eren touching and kissing Historia's hand in the conclusion of season 3, part 2, right? And then, of course, this episode reiterates that important moment. And they do this by taking us back to the Libero meetup scene, right? And it also serves as a great tension release before it moves on to the second half of this episode. So it was certainly much needed, this tension release. It is quite the bombastic episode, right? Of course, for the first half and second half. But yeah, it was great to see them use this scene or utilize this scene as a tension relief as well. Release, sorry. And of course, I get to see the continuation of the ball toss scene, right? But it turns out that Eren dropped it. And, as it was meant to be the substitute to the handshake, you see that Zeke was already a bit concerned back then, right? That was the thing they didn't show us before. But of course, it serves a purpose showing it here, right? Given how it plays out in the Path Realm a few moments later. So yeah, it totally makes sense that someone as intelligent as Zeke didn't just blindly put all his faith in Eren, right? Especially since he's held the belief that he's been brainwashed by that terrible father, right? He still holds that belief. It's almost as if, Eren, like he was playing along, but like his body kind of almost rejected that notion that, oh, okay, so this is meant to be the handshake, and his body almost didn't allow him to even catch it, right? He couldn't play along in that aspect. But, I do think it serves another purpose as well. Once again, it brings that notion of memories opening up to the forefront of the story, to the audience, right? It's a reminder for the audience. Right before both Eren and Zeke make it to the Path Realm, right? So it's clearly important to bring this up again. 4 years ago, some of Dad's memories opened up to me, right? Memories of that slaughter of the royal family of the Walls. So, the fact that they made the decision to leave that entire scene in there, it must mean something, especially in an episode that is so important. Beginning to end, it's probably one of the most important episodes of Shingeki. And of course, it's certainly one of the best episodes of Shingeki as well, right? I think that much is clear to anyone. It is just an incredible episode. But yeah, circling back to my point, I think it is meant to be a timely reminder to the audience. Again, not only does it reiterate that the memories opened up to Eren, right, after touching Historia's hand or kissing her hand, and it also reiterates that he saw through his father's perspective, right? He said, "I felt it," as he holds up his hand, right? He felt it. And, it was so vivid and transportive that he was actually acting it out. Remember that jarring expression on his face after he touched Historia and all those memories opened up to him? Yeah. And, even earlier in season 3, part 2, or near the conclusion, in the jail cell, right? Eren was having this vivid, transportive experience through Grisha and Eren Kruger's conversation. Once again, as if he was actually there. And I remember I, spoke of this extensively in the discussion for that episode, and how clear they made that. That it's not just memories opening up, but it's so vivid and transportive that he's actually reliving those moments. Right, and acting them out. And of course, the really cool aspect of that was that he was experiencing it both from his father's perspective and Kruger's perspective, because both of them are past Attack Titan holders, right? So yeah, that was so trippy, right? But that was set up some time ago as well. So I think it's safe to assume that some memories are about to be unlocked for both Eren and Zeke, right, as they go dome to dome and make contact. And it was clear that Zeke seems to know this as he initiated it, as he maintains that he wants to save Eren before going through with this grand plan of his, right? And, it's so clear. It's been clear for a long time. And even here, it was so clear that he genuinely wants Eren to be by his side. He cares for him and that he doesn't want to abandon his brother, much like Colt didn't want to abandon Falco in his final moments. Again, I'll get to that. Oh my goodness. But yeah, you see it was quite a sad moment for Zeke, as expected all that time ago from episode 15. There's heartbreak in the future. Though, of course, you see that multiple times throughout this episode, this shows that, okay, Zeke had his doubts. Even in this episode, there's another moment that, maybe a notion of doubt probably crept in again. Another speck of doubt, right? As he's about to scream and Eren tells him, hold on, he stops him. So that was another standout moment, right? As Eren has recently kept everything kind of close to his chest, right? In terms of emotions and being, outspoken about things. So that was certainly an outlier in terms of his behavior. And you see that Zeke had quite a reaction to it. There's this tight shot of his eyes inside the Beast Titan. And of course, Reiner also had quite a reaction to it. Again, I'll do this separately. I'll get to that point. This is the focus at the moment, folks. The Path Realm. And the really interesting thing here is that they've been established as yin and yang for some time now. Again, you go back to the Libero conversation back in episode 15. Yeah, he plays along, he tells Zeke, yeah, let's do it. Let's put an end to the 2,000 years of Titan domination. Though I do think, he does have plans to end the Titan domination. I think the end of Titans is part of Eren's long-term plan as well. Of course, different path. They're both kind of taking a different path towards that goal. But despite that, and despite realistically barely even knowing Eren, Zeke is so desperate for this familial bond with Eren. Zeke is so convinced that Grisha gave Eren the same terrible childhood, that he made the same mistakes with this brother as well, right? And Zeke legitimately believes that he is saving Eren, or he wants to save Eren. He's just so dead set on that possibility that there's no chance, Eren could want this on his own, right? That this is actually his own ideals. He's so convinced that, it was that father, that terrible father, that put him up to this, that brainwashed him. But of course, it's also an official confirmation from Eren himself that there's no chance in hell I would go along with your plan, right? This messed up plan of yours. Again, it's been this, open secret, essentially. Everyone and their grandma knew this is like the opposite of everything Eren believes in, right? Going back to the first time they showed that scene in episode 15, immediately it was clear he's playing along. Though, I shouldn't say that. It's possible that a lot of people thought, okay, maybe he is down for this plan. But, let's be real here, folks. It was so against everything Eren believes in, his ideals. I was born in this world, Tatakai, freedom, the whole, aspect of the Attack Titan, Shingeki no Kyojin, always seeking freedom. So, realistically, I don't think that was meant to throw anyone for a loop. I don't think that scene was meant to throw the audience for a loop. I think it was more so there to, show the audience, okay, he's playing along, right? Because they know, one of the most firmly established elements of this show has been Eren's ideals, right? His perspective, his outlook. So yeah, I don't think that was meant to, confuse the audience. But, the key moment here is that he thinks he can fix Eren. I'll fix you with the Founder's powers, right? But what exactly does fixing Eren entail, right? From Zeke's perspective, it's correcting Eren's brainwashed mentality and making him realize that this euthanization plan is the only right option, right? Again, looking at it from Zeke's perspective. But, through the presentation of this, the cliffhanger moment, the dome-to-dome, the making contact, and Zeke initiating it and saying that he's going to use the Founder's powers, not the Founding Titan, but the Founder's powers to fix him, right? This isn't about to be just another memory unlock, right? Another memory unlock moment. There is another level to this, right? As the Founder's powers are coming into play here. So this is about to be quite exciting, right? It's about to be a different type of memory unlock. Once again, something only the Founder's powers can allow. Now, if I was to take a swing at this, make a prediction, give some insight on this based on the information I've had before, I think that other element is finally coming into play. That other aspect is finally coming into play. And once again, it takes me back to Eren in the jail cell, right? Again, a lot of this was set up a long time ago, and it's finally coming into play now, right? As they're in the path realm. So Eren mentioned, at times, even thoughts and memories can be sent through these paths, right? I think it's finally going there. So I think it's finally about to go there, that it's finally about to explore that setup, right? The payoff is about to happen, I think. And it actually reminds me of a great line of dialogue from Christopher Nolan's Memento. We all need memories to remind ourselves of who we are. So yeah, all the signs are there, all the setup is there, set up from a long time ago as well. It's all there. And of course, that cliffhanger, really plays into that as well. And the fact that this requires the Founder's powers, yeah, it's all set up for something quite drastic in the next episode. But yeah, let's circle back a bit. The big revelation here is that the Founder Ymir obeys royal blood, right? As she has the mentality of a slave and no free choice of her own, right? Despite being capable of amazing things, despite being this godlike entity. So, Zeke of royal blood is in charge here. That much was clear, right? Zeke commands and Ymir listens and obeys. And of course, Zeke is free in here because that really unique situation. He happens to be a Titan of royal blood, right? A Titan shifter of royal blood who does not have the Founding Titan. So he's not manipulated by the king's ideals, right? So he moves around freely and he's of royal blood, right? So yeah, he's certainly in charge. So ultimately it turned out that, yeah, indeed, Eren and the Founding Titan was a key, but so was, the Beast Titan or a Royal Titan shifter. So essentially it was kind of like one is the lock and one is the key. But, once they make it in there, it became really clear that, no, the holder of the Founding Titan has no say in here, right? Again, the big revelation being that she listens to royal blood because she has that slave mentality, that subservience to royal blood. So as of this point, that much is clear. He's in control, and he does not have the founding titan. But let's kind of shift to the founder, Ymir. Yeah, man, this is quite the tragic figure. Perhaps the most tragic figure of this entire story. And, this story certainly has its share of tragic figures. Tragic characters, and interestingly, a lot of them happen to be my favorites of the story, right? Characters like Zeke, characters like Reiner. So yeah, there's a late entry for perhaps the most tragic character of the entire story. I think it's starting to become clear that she's in her own personal hell, right? This never-ending state of trance, subservient for an eternity. Right? A slave to royal blood. She's presented as faceless, emotionless, a tool essentially, right? Cursed to roam this desolate, empty space that stretches for eternity, right? And then molding monsters that have been capable of destroying entire civilizations, right? So that is, I asked a few questions after seeing her in episode 1, a quick glimpse of her rebuilding Zeke's body. And of course, that served as a great setup moment as well, because there they showed us that Zeke is not chained. So immediately there was something off the moment they showed Zeke chained in here, right? Red flags immediately go up the moment I saw that. And again, it served a great purpose to show us that scene earlier. Also it established the time dilation aspect of it all. That time is so different. The concept of time is so different, right? And now it's about to play out here from the looks of it for at least the next episode, right? They're about to spend some time here together. A lot of things have to play out here before returning to reality. But I think a really interesting aspect of this is Zeke and Eren's reaction or outlook on the Founder's existence in this place. Zeke understands the Founder's lonely and subservient existence, right? But ultimately, he sees her as an instrument to implement his plans, as a tool, right? As I mentioned earlier. And again, she was kind of presented as such, right? Emotionless, and faceless, essentially. Eren, on the other hand, sees her humanity, right? And you see that his heart goes out to her. I thought it was a wonderful moment, right? A reminder that Eren still has that compassionate side, right? Again, a rare, look into his emotions, because, much of season 4, part 1, you don't get to hear Eren's thoughts. And, it's a rare moment as Eren is finally kind of letting it out there, right? Once he's made it to the Path Realm, he's becoming a bit more open about his thoughts. Listen, man, my immediate thought was that Eren is going to try and free the founder Ymir, right? It's just in his nature, right? It's a part of him. It's part of his DNA. It's part of his build, like I mentioned earlier, right? Seeking freedom. And there's other elements as well that play into this aspect, him potentially trying to free the founder Ymir from this hell of hers. So yeah, I certainly think that Eren is going to try something to free her from this slave mentality of hers, right? From this subservience to royal blood. Listen, he's going to initiate the stampede of the Titans. I think that much is clear. I've discussed it. I think everyone knows that some sort of rumbling is going to happen, and the most likeliest one being Eren's stampede of the Titans, right? The rumbling. So that means at some point he's going to have to tap into the Founder's powers to do so, right? I'm not sure how just yet, but he'll get there. I think he'll get there because, I do think the Stampede of the Titans is going to happen. And as of this point, they've established that Zeke is in charge because he is of royal blood and he commands and Ymir listens, right? The Founder listens. But, I'm not quite sure how it's going to get there, and I'm sure I'll find out soon enough. But something has to happen here that is going to allow Eren to, make use of the Founder's powers. So let's see how these next episodes play out. But yeah, I firmly believe that at some point he is going to manage to get her powers, right? Or utilize her powers or borrow her powers. Because yes, to initiate the Stampede of the Titans, he's going to have to get her powers, right? Now, how I mentioned there is another aspect to this. There is still that whole setup from a long time ago, from the first episode of the series to you, 2,000 years from now, right? Set up all that time ago as the title of the first episode. And it's quite the unique title. It's one of those titles that's always been a bit out of place. It really sticks out from the rest. And again, that was the first episode of this series, right? At some point, something must come of that setup. I think it's quite possible that the Founder actually wanted Eren to be here, right? And he's here, right? He's in her presence. But, even beyond that, I think it was also important that both Eren and Zeke are here. So I think she wanted both of them to come to the Path Realm together. So I do believe she wanted Eren to be here, as she clearly deems him important for something, right? This whole thing I mentioned of him potentially trying to free her from this, right? From this cursed existence, essentially, from this slave mentality, being subservient to royal blood. It's possible that she's been here a long time. She's been waiting here for a long time for Eren Yeager to show up. But again, that being said, as of this point, she is only responding to Zeke, right? She completely just ignored Eren. Again, not enough information just yet. So a lot of things kind of need to play out. Essentially, I need to watch the next episode, right? Then maybe a few more things might become a bit more clear, or the next few episodes even. But yeah, I do think there is a connection here, that title and her being here and Eren finally being here. And, a bit earlier, I mentioned the No More Titans aspect of it. Back in Libero, Eren mentioning, I'll end the 2,000 years of Titan domination, right? So this could also potentially play into that. Potentially freeing the founder Ymir could play into the No More Titans aspect, because she's the one who creates the Titans, right? All of them. This confirmed that she creates every single Titan there is. And oh my goodness, by hand, creating these monsters by hand for an eternity. Again, it's a cursed existence. It's a tragic existence. But yeah, if she is freed from this somehow and she moves on, right, or is able to move on from this, there's no one left to create Titans. No one has to create Titans anymore. But yeah, again, that whole concept of him ending the 2,000 years of Titan domination, I think he was being truthful about that to Zeke, right? But again, he has his own path towards that goal. And again, I don't think that's going to happen before the Stampede of the Titans, right? But I think even the Stampede of the Titans, mobilizing the Wall Titans could play into the whole, No More Titans aspect, because he's going to have to get them out, right? He has to get them out of there. Yeah, it's not as easy as that though, is it, right? Because if they do get out of there, they're about to cause a lot of death. Again, an apocalyptic situation, right? I spoke of this all the way back in season 3, part 1. But yeah, there's a lot of really exciting and interesting stuff playing out here. And even though as of this point it looks like Zeke is firmly in control and Eren was bamboozled, right? He thought he's playing Zeke, and he was playing Zeke. But again, Zeke being the person he is, he's quite an intelligent person. He did suspect that maybe Eren is not entirely truthful about his feelings and his outlook on this. Right? So he kind of set up that test, the chain test. But here's the thing, folks. Eren, it's not as simple as that, though, is it? That, okay, Eren has been bamboozled and that's that, and now Zeke is firmly in control. No, I don't believe that for a second. It was clear in season 4, part 1 that Eren is certainly in control. No one is manipulating Eren. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it would be foolish to count Eren out. I think it would be foolish to all of a sudden consider that Eren has been bamboozled entirely, right? And I think Zeke needs to be careful here. He needs to be careful. He got the upper hand on Eren here, but I don't think it's as simple as that, right? You cannot count Eren Yeager out, especially given the fact that it became really clear in season 4, part 1 that he has knowledge of things that might not have happened just yet. Much like some of the memories of the future came to Eren Kruger, right? Back in season 3, part 2. Armin, Mikasa, whose memories are those, right? So yeah, that was a talking point in part 1 of this. So yeah, I do think it'd be foolish to completely cut him out here, right? So again, incredible setup for the next episode from that standpoint. Now, as of this point in the story, out there, things are essentially frozen in time, or frozen in a moment in time, right? And they certainly, the visual storytelling certainly depicted that, right? It was a great scene, really ambitious. I'll get into that in a bit, but yeah. Now, of course, it's not going to feel like that to them on the outside, right? To them, it's just nothing. They're not going to feel anything is different or out of place. But from Eren and Zeke's perspective, they're out there in reality. That moment is frozen in time. They're going to be figuring some things out. They could be at it for a long time, right? This whole notion that Zeke is trying to fix Eren, they could be at it for a long time. And actually, it's already been years in there, right? In the Path Realm, as Eren's body was being rebuilt. And you see that in that time, in those years, the mind-numbing time in there, as Eren's body is being rebuilt, Zeke actually started to look even more like that, commonly portrayed godlike appearance in media, right? The long hair, the long beard, and it's quite the contrast. It's quite the contrast to Eren's dark hair and black outfit, right? So again, that whole savior and the devil aspect is coming in here. The yin and the yang. Now, if I'm being honest, I think Eren's character model in this episode took a bit of a hit, right? It was a bit inconsistent, wasn't it? His face even kind of it just looked different. I thought I got like 3 different looks at Eren essentially, or 3 different looks for Eren throughout the episode essentially. As he's outside, as he's inside the Titan, as he's running towards Zeke, as he's inside the Path Realm, his character model was a bit inconsistent. And the crazy thing here is that the founder Ymir possesses incredible, immense power, right? If she really wanted, she could do some insane things. Could she not just bring all the Titans into the Path Realm, right? In an instant, they disappear, right? Could she not even transfer all Eldians into the Path Realm in an attempt to protect them if needed? She could do anything essentially. But of course, there's that whole suppression angle to it, right? She has the mentality of a slave, so she doesn't think to do anything, right? Again, she doesn't have a free choice of her own, according to Zeke. So that aspect is kind of just baffling, right? That she's so deep into this, trance of having this slave-like mentality, subservience to royal blood, that she doesn't even think to do these things on her own. Essentially, the definitive founder Ymir backstory is going to shed some light on this, right? How she kind of ended up in this mindset. And yeah, it feels like I'm getting closer and closer to it. It can't be too far off at this point. But yeah, it is so exciting to finally be inside the Path Realm. It really is. Again, it was set up as something so unique to the rest of the story, right? And to finally make it in there, to finally have these 2 important figures make it in there is really exciting. It's really exciting. So, I hope, my hope is that, I do get to spend a bit more time in there. And it looks like, yeah, I might get to spend more time in there, right? I don't want it to be just over in an instant, right? Even though, yeah, that's how it feels like for people that are in there. It feels like an eternity, but also an instant. And, earlier I spoke of Christopher Nolan, right? Memento, that line of dialogue that really, reminded me of the stuff going on in this episode. The Path Realm itself and, the founder Ymir kind of reminded me of the dream world from Inception, right? And of course, in this case, the architect being the founder Ymir herself, right? She could build anything, everything, right? If she really wanted. She's capable of building more than just Titans, right? She just happens to be in this trance, this subservient state, that she's just building these monsters for an eternity. Now, I mentioned this for a split second, but let's backtrack. Let's backtrack to one of the most visually stunning sequences committed to the Shingeki anime, right? A moment frozen in time, right? A monumental moment in the series, right? As Eren gets decapitated. I mean, that sequence, folks, that sequence was just phenomenal in its execution. I think even some of the rougher edges are excusable because of how stunning and memorable and ambitious that sequence is. Right from the moment that mystical, Vangelis-esque track starts to transition into the conclusion of the Libero conversation flashback, I knew I'm about to see something immense, something unique, right? Something special. And then it transitions to this journey through time and memories sequence, right? Eren's experiencing those things. And I felt like the beginning of that was a homage, right, to the Stargate sequence from Space Odyssey, 2001: A Space Odyssey. And I think even the highly detailed blinking eye felt like a homage to the Stargate sequence from Space Odyssey. I mean, how incredibly detailed was that eye, right? Beautiful. And of course, I applaud them for taking this swing, right? Such an ambitious swing. And yeah, it paid off. And of course, Mikasa is the first one to pop up in his, little journey through time and memories And to be more specific, episode 1 Mikasa, right? Carrying those sticks. And then he sees season 1 Reiner, right? He sees Aunt Faye from Grisha's perspective. And of course, he sees Frida again, right? That iconic, that infamous scene of Frida brushing her hair. And Eren kind of looking through her perspective and seeing himself as Frida, right? Again, that whole concept of these memories being so vivid and transportive that it feels like you're reliving them, right? Through that perspective. And of course, Frida is a former Founder Titan holder, right? Founding Titan, sorry, not Founder Titan, Founding Titan holder. And the really crazy thing is that Eren actually resembles Frida now, doesn't he? Those eyes, his facial structure, the long black hair. Yeah, surely that's not just a coincidence, right? To have him look like that, right? But yeah, once again he sees Frida and the rest of the race family through his father's perspective, of course, in that underground cave as he approaches them, right, in that infamous episode, that infamous moment. And then of course there's a shot of his father again, that shot of Grisha again, and that shot might be my favorite of the entire sequence, right? That was just phenomenal, man. And then of course there's a really fantastic transition utilizing the key to the basement, right? Swinging in and transitioning to another scene. Another really interesting aspect of this, the key transitioning, it brings in something that seems to be alternative realities, right? I looked at the still frames again, and that looked like a goth version of Mikasa and a version of Armin with glasses, right? And it also appears that before they showed those two, they show Historia as well. I think Historia was the most, clear one to see. And then of course there's also that frame of Reiner, Heicho, and I believe it was Jean, right? Similar hair. They're in a sauna. I mean, some of this imagery is really strange. It's really strange and really does feel like, alternative realities, right? So let's put a pin in that for now. And let's see if Eren and Zeke's time in the Path Realm sheds some light on, this potential alternative reality aspect of it that's kind of being introduced here in these, memory flashbacks or journey through memories in time. Hey man, I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to see Goth Mikasa again. Not gonna lie, yeah, but let's put a pin in that. I'm not sure if this is going to play any, major aspect, or if it's going to be a major aspect of the ending of the story. It is in its, conclusion, essentially. It's in its final stretch. So I don't know, this whole potential of alternative realities playing a part or playing a big part, but I'm not gonna go off on a tangent just yet. Let's see. Let's put a pin in that and let's see. And then of course there's the ever-present bird symbology in there as well, right throughout the two sequences, the frozen moment in time sequence, and then of course the journey through time and memories sequence. But that being said, there's a specific shot of quite a large one, right, on its own, flying towards or over the wall, right? I mean, that felt too specific to me. And then moments later, it appears to be the silhouette of that same large bird, but this time it's flying over a body of water, right? So I don't know, man. Those two shots felt really specific to me, beyond just the usual, bird symbology, a flock of birds, essentially. This time it's just the one, and it appeared to be quite large as it's flying over the wall or towards the wall. He sees the colossal titan peeking over the wall, right? I love how that was presented. He sees Connie and Sasha, and also it appears to be a new character, this blue-eyed character, and it's like a young child. Kind of reminded me of Zeke a bit, but I don't know. The face itself looked like someone I haven't seen before. And of course, all of it concludes at the coordinate. So I thought that was a great scene, great sequence, ambitious sequence. It paid off, and great ending to the sequence. Bringing us into the Path Realm finally. And, it's insane that Eren getting decapitated is just the midpoint of the episode, right? Actually, even saying that sentence out loud is just wild. Eren got decapitated, head goes flying. But again, as jarring as it was, the audience knows that Eren cannot die here, right? So in that sense, yes, it was shocking, but at no point did I think, okay, that's the end of Eren, right? He's done. No chance, right? No chance in hell. But still, it's shocking. It's jarring to see that, visual of his head flying. And of course, Zeke caught it, right? So that was a crucial component of this, him making contact. And I guess, he was alive for a few moments, for a split second, for a couple of seconds after, getting decapitated. And Zeke happened to make contact at just the right time. You know, the really crazy thing here is that that moment is kind of frozen in time, right? In reality, as both Zeke and Eren are in the Path Realm. But, you know, it's not going to feel like that to them, the people outside, right? Mikasa, Jean, Connie, anyone who's out there. To them, it's going to be just normal, right? For them, it's going to continue from that point on. But, you know, the insane thing is, you know, Eren and Zeke might be here doing their thing in the Path Realm for some time, but by the time they potentially return to reality, it's just going to continue from that point, right? And again, you know, I don't expect Eren to die. So realistically speaking, you know, if it continues to at that exact moment, Eren is going to be alive somehow, right? He's going to be alive. Or he's going to be kept alive somehow. And of course, you know, as set up in the last episode, right, the Titan rifle, the massive Titan rifle that requires a spot-on nape shot. Of course, you know, it was set up that Gabby might do something here, and you know, this is not at all the thing I expected to happen here. You know, that she's going to nape shot Eren and decapitate him, right? No chance in hell that I could have, you know, even imagined that. But yeah, it happened. And, you know, I thought a really interesting aspect of this is Gabby's reaction to this, or her reaction to having to do this, right? You see that she's actually upset about this, that she had to do this. I thought it was a great touch to focus on her tears building up right before she shot him, right? Right before she nape shot him, one-shot him. As established, she's a damn good shot. But again, you know, it's a different Gabby as she reached genuine clarity in the last episode. You see that's a totally different mentality. She did not see any glory in this. But of course, Gabby kind of goes through a hell of her own in this episode, right? She sees one of her friends, one of her, you know, close friends, you know, essentially die or, you know, turn into a monster, right? She sees another close friend, Colt, die, essentially trying to, you know, protect his brother, his younger brother. Then she sees that her cousin is about to die, right? But then it ends up being Galliard who ends up dying. And who kills Galliard, or who ends up consuming Galliard? Her friend who just turned into a Titan. So it's incredibly messed up that she is there for this, and she's just, you know, taking this all in. Now let's keep backtracking here and, you know, focus on the two brothers aspect of this episode, right? You've got the three sets of brothers here. You know, you got Zeke and Eren, you've got Colt and Falco, and you've got Porco and Marcel, right? So, you know, Reiner's touch unlocked those crucial memories, right? Something that ended up being quite important to Galliard, right? Something quite special that played a crucial part in his final moments, right? His heroic and incredible final moments. You know, I've got to say, I have so much appreciation for Galliard. I mean, you guys know this. I've liked him since his introduction in part 1 of season 4, right? I mean, all the warriors had such an effective introduction in part 1. They all became so likable almost instantly, right? Again, you know, great credit to Isayama-san's writing to accomplish that, right? To establish empathy for these characters coming in so late in the game. Listen, I understand that not everyone cares about the warriors. Some of them just want to see them die and defeated because, you know, they just want to back the Paradis side. And yeah, you know, people are free to watch how they want to watch, but, you know, this is my take on it. I like them. I like pretty much all of them, essentially, right? And, you know, I love that he got to experience a memory of his late brother. I mean, hell, he actually got to relive that memory through his brother's perspective, right? Really feeling the things he was feeling at the moment. You see that in the, you know, the warrior training days flashbacks. Galliard, Porco bullied Reiner quite a bit, right? And, you know, eventually he even develops a bit of an inferiority complex, right? Due to Reiner being selected over him. You know, that really hit him. That really hit him. And, you know, it's something that's been kind of like this niggling thorn in his side, essentially, all this time, you know, just wondering about this. You know, how is this possible? How could they possibly pick Reiner over me? But, you know, of course, you know, there's a bit of a progression as some of that bitterness starts to dissipate, a bit at least, you know, once he acquires the Jaw Titan from Ymir, right? You know, again, there's a cycle of the Jaw Titans coming in or, you know, giving up their lives to save Reiner, right? It's a bit of an ongoing theme at this point. You know, Marcel's Jaw Titan, Ymir and the Jaw Titan, and now Galliard and the Jaw Titan. But, you know, upon getting the Jaw Titan from Ymir, you know, he starts to question and wonder about Reiner's actions, you know, his personality shift to match Marcel's personality shift. That really kind of threw him for a loop. But, you know, finally he does learn the truth. after seeing his brother's memories, right? After experiencing his brother's memories, and this is something Reiner had tried to keep from Porco, right? And essentially he was doing it out of concern for Porco, right? This is not something Reiner was going to share with Galliard. Again, I like calling him Galliard, but that moment is so beautiful as Galliard is moved by his brother's love, right? It changed a lot of things then and there for him. It resolved a lot of things then and there. And that long-standing rivalry and bitterness he used to have with Reiner is immediately resolved. It becomes a non-issue at that point, right? He understands. He completely understands everything after that memory opens up to him. Now let me shift to another set of brothers for a bit. Colt. Oh my goodness, man. Colt's plea was one of the most heartbreaking moments of the series. The desperation, the sense of dread, because ultimately Colt probably knew that Zeke wouldn't really change anything, right? But as the older brother, right, as a protector, he left it all out there in that final attempt. No matter how futile those attempts end up being, he had to give it a shot. He left it all out there. He gave it a shot, man. And you see, he's so desperate that at that moment in time, all he can really care about is his brother. He tells him, just let him go out of range and you can, continue killing all the Marleans or the Eldians you please, right? Do your thing. Just, leave my brother out of this. Again, that desperation is understandable at that moment in time. And you see that Galliard is seeing this play out, right? He's taking all of this in after his newfound clarity, right, through his brother's memories. So he's seeing all this play out. So he understands, he understands the plea. He understands the nature of Colt's desperation, right? The older brother trying to protect the younger. But if that wasn't heartbreaking enough, Colt decides that he's going to be there with Falco in these final moments. He's going to stay there, right? He didn't want to abandon him, right? He didn't want his final moments to be by himself, terrified, right before turning into a Titan, a mindless Titan, abnormal Titan, and quite a strange-looking Titan for Falco. But again, you can't really predict how these things are going to turn out. He had like a long giraffe-type neck. And of course, he was under Zeke's control, as Zeke tells him, go get him, Falco. But, ultimately, Colt's love for his brother was far greater than his fear of a painful death. And it was a painful death, man. Oh my goodness. And again, Gabby had to see all of that. She had to see his dead body. But even though Colt really wanted to, be there for him in those last moments, Falco was probably terrified as well for another reason, right? Knowing that his brother is about to die as well because he's going to turn into a Titan. So it's also sad. It's a heartbreaking moment, man. And I feel like anyone who has brothers or siblings can completely, understand this situation. And of course, once again, it's a testament to Isayama-san's writing that these characters introduced so late in the story, right? So close to the conclusion of the story or that phase of the story that they can become this emotionally affecting or, them dying or them being in these situations can be so emotionally affecting. And of course, there's that wonderful moment as Zeke tells Colt that he knows all too well, the feelings for one's brother, right? And at that moment in time, it cycles through Eren, to Galliard, to Colt and Falco, right? I felt like it really encapsulated the bonds of brotherhood, right? Even if in some cases it's quite complicated, right? Of course, Zeke and Eren, it's a complicated case. Hell, I think it's clear to see that there is some semblance of brotherhood between Reiner and Galliard as well, right? Complicated, but there was an interesting dynamic there this whole time, I think. And, it kind of reaches a beautiful conclusion here. And, also, let's not forget Reiner's actual brother-type figure, Bertold, right? Yes, they're not brothers genetically, but that's the closest thing he's had to a brother, right? He was his brother throughout all of that, right? Who also died here in Shiganshina, let's not forget. But yeah, as expected, Zeke was quite upset about this, right? He was quite understanding and sympathetic with Cole's final attempts and the situation he finds himself in. But also, as expected, Zeke was looking at the grand scheme of things, right? And he didn't hold back. He did not hold back. Though, like I mentioned a bit earlier, something quite interesting happened. The first time Zeke is about to go scream, Eren didn't want him to scream. There was legitimate concern on his face, right? So, like I mentioned earlier, any sort of emotion, right, is a rare sight with Eren these days. And, you see that he doesn't want these people to turn into Titans, right? These mindless Titans, essentially their lives ending. He doesn't want them to die, right? And the carnage that they're about to cause, is potentially to his friends, the people he cares for, right? The people he's fighting for. So yeah, you see that, and you see both Zeke and Reiner are a bit taken back by this, right? And I mentioned Zeke, it kind of gave him another, speck of doubt, right? Again, there's a tight shot of his face inside his eyes. But for Reiner, it was more of an eye-opening type reaction that Eren isn't completely gone, right? He does care for people, right? It's there. And, it's interesting that Reiner is here for this. Yet another moment giving Reiner insight on Eren's current disposition, his character, right? And the reason for doing these things. So, it was interesting that it's Reiner once again, and, no one else saw this. Like some of his other close friends didn't see this, but Reiner is right there, front row seat for this behavior, right? This really strange, out of place behavior for Eren at this moment in time, at least. It's out of place because, he's been holding everything in this whole time. But how about that moment Zeke actually screams? Holy shit, the sound design, the voice acting, the animation. That was a devastating roar by the Beast Titan. I thought that was a roar worthy of the Beast Titan. I mean, the visceral impact of that was just spine tingling, man. You really feel that this is a high stakes situation and the impact of it and the thing that's been put into motion, right? Incredible. I thought that was just incredible. Sound design and voice acting, so affecting, right? Again, goosebumps, spine tingling. And before I go any further, this episode is full of stunning frames. And a few of them are of the Beast Titan and, Colt and Falco standing by. But that moment they all start glowing. Oh my goodness, that hits you like a truck. It really hits you like a truck. The incredible score being isolated really puts you at that moment in time, their mindset, these final fleeting moments before they die, essentially, right before they become monsters. Wow, that was just so effective. It's an incredible scene, incredibly sad, of course, but it's a beautifully executed scene. And as expected, it was tough to see people like Niall and Pixis sign off like that. It really was. They've been around for so long. They've been around since season 1. They might be side characters, but there's an impact there. There is. Both played their parts in the story, and they left their marks on the story, right? Yeah. But of course, in true Commander Pixis fashion, he's got a bottle in his hands as he's glowing and about to turn into a Titan. So that's another sad aspect, right? Nile Titan and Pixis Titan are gonna show up. But again, that might be down the line because right now, at this moment in time, they're focusing on the whole Eren and Zeke being in the Path Realm. But yeah, they're gonna have to deal with that. So it'll be interesting to see some of their reactions to coming across the Nile Titan, maybe, or the Pixis Titan. It's going to be tough for them, for sure. But of course, the scene itself, Shiganshina is overrun by Titans once again, right? And I felt that the music selection here, as the newly transformed abnormal Titans emerge, I felt that it was so transportive, right? That same iconic track from the fall of Shiganshina in episode 1 of the series, and also episode 5 as well, right? But it instantly kind of took me back years to that time I first started watching this incredible series, right? And music has that capacity, right? Instantly evoking distant memories, right? As if they happened yesterday, right? As if they happened just now, right? And the music for this anime has done that for me on so many occasions. And, I think that's one of the reasons I can instantly recall a lot of the music placement, right? The moment I hear the music, again, it takes me back to a moment in time, a moment in the series almost immediately, because I associate that really, powerful music, that incredible music, to certain scenes. So yeah, it's been known for a long time that Shingeki has some of the most incredible music of any series, of all time, essentially, right? And I don't think that's an exaggeration to say. So yeah, great credit to Yamamoto, great credit to Sawano, right, who led the charge for a long time. But of course, Yamamoto came in and, standards did not drop off, right? In fact, he's delivered some of his own iconic music for Shingeki, right? That I do consider on par with Sawano's incredible Shingeki music, or music for Shingeki. Okay, so battery was about to die. I had to switch it, so the angle might look a bit different. I'm seeing here that, yeah, it's a bit different, but it is what it is. Let's continue. There's that one shot of the smoke clearing up, right? And the Titan silhouettes slowly appearing. Folks, that is an all-timer. That is an all-timer Shingeki frame for me, right? And it's going right into my extensive collection of frames, right? I've been going through them as I take a trip down memory lane for the intros I'm making for every single episode. But yeah, that reintroduction of Titans and Shiganshina, it had that feeling, didn't it? That feeling of dread, that these monsters are about to overrun, it actually certainly brought back that fear factor, right? Especially because they're abnormals as well, right? Zeke's abnormal titans. Yeah, and he's done that before. He's had a few of his abnormal titans running around inside the walls before. If you go back to season 2, one of the great mysteries of season 2, one of the great moments of season 2, finding out that indeed they were Zeke's titans, or figuring out that they were Zeke's titans. And there's also a bit of a switch around, as now the Marley soldiers have to experience the horror those people from different countries used to face, right? As they dropped Zeke's titans, as they were trying to conquer different countries, right? Now it's kind of like their turn to be on the opposing end of the titans running riot inside a city, right? Again, not saying anyone really deserves this, any of these soldiers deserve this, but it was an interesting aspect that, it's been switched now. No one deserves to die like that, right? No one deserves to be eaten by monsters like that, but it was interesting that, it's been switched around on them now. But let me circle back to Reiner. That moment that he thought that Zeke was dead and Eren couldn't use the Founding Titan anymore, right? This calm came over him, that he can give in now, right? Let go and finally move on and let Falco kind of take him, right? And not a second of doubt in him. He's more than happy to do it. He's more than happy to, give up the rest of his remaining life, essentially. He's been on that path anyways, right? He's barely had any reason to live, but of course, Gabi and Falco became his reason to live, and he was here for this, right? To help bring them back as well. But it wasn't meant to be. Not yet, Reiner, not yet. Once again, Reiner lives on. He's cursed to live, essentially, isn't he? The thing is, I think the most fitting thing here that could happen for Reiner's end, or his story, now that I know that he didn't, die or, kind of give himself up to Falco, I think now it becomes a bit more likely that he is going to, end up living on, because I do firmly believe that at some point the 13-year curse is going to end by the end of the series, by the end of the story. So yeah, now that I know that, he doesn't die for Falco, or he doesn't, give up his armor titan to Falco, or fitting into Reiner's story here could be that, yes, he does live on, and yes, he finally finds a reason to live on again, right? That he's happy. That's how I want to see it go down at this point. That's how I could see it going down at this point. If he's not dead yet, if he hasn't died now, even now, I don't think he's going to die now. I just hope he finds peace within his heart, right? Down the line, in the end game of this story and beyond. So yeah, let's see how that plays out. But yeah, enter Galliard, who mirrors his own brother's actions as he ends up sacrificing himself for his comrade, right? Galliard understood, Galliard finally understood just why Marcel gave his life for Reiner, right? Because his actions put Reiner in that position in the first place, right? And of course, someone like Marcel couldn't allow himself to let Reiner meet this unfair and untimely death. So, he didn't think about it for a split second. He jumped right in. And now, all this time later, Galliard understood everything Reiner has been through because of all of this, right? Ultimately sacrificing himself and saving both Reiner and Falco. So I thought that was a heroic moment for him. It's a great send-off. Even though he's dying, I thought it was a great send-off for Galliard. And I love that he wasn't in that, Marley warrior uniform, right? And didn't have that armband on. Instead, he dies in the scout uniform. I thought that was such a great touch to have him die in the scout uniform, right? Rather than that, Marley uniform that really, had a lot of negative connotations attached to it as well. But yeah, I do think that's about it. That's about it for this one. Again, a phenomenal episode. It really was. Two brothers, adequately titled. Yeah, man, thoroughly enjoyed that. And, it sets up nicely. It left off on such a fantastic cliffhanger. And yeah, I hope I can get to episode 4 much sooner than episode 3. But again, I don't know at this point in time. But, regardless, I'm really quite excited to get to it. So if you enjoyed that, please consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts, as long as they're spoiler-free, of course, please and thank you. If you're interested in full length for this episode, consider checking out Patreon. It's a timer-based full length on Patreon, but if you would like to experience it uncut, the entire episode, consider checking out patreon.com. Also, there's no early access. I just want to reiterate that. There's no early access. This goes straight to YouTube as Shingeki is airing at the moment. Also, consider checking out the Twitter page. The link is in the description, in the pinned comment. Support the channel by following the Twitter account, because that certainly helps the channel grow its reach, no doubt about it. So yeah, that's about it for this one. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you again soon for episode 4. So until then, take it easy.